Welcome back to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to being truly well-informed. Today we're taking a magnifying glass to a market that's, well, absolutely foundational to global food, yet often remains a bit of a mystery. That's the global glutamic acid and monosodium market. Our mission in this deep dive is really extract the vital intelligence from the Global Glutamic Acid and Monosodium Market Report 2025. We're not just looking at numbers here, we're aiming to uncover the critical trends, the surprising growth engines, and ultimately answer a crucial question. How are global taste and food production fundamentally shifting? And, where is the future of flavor truly accelerating across continents? Now, when you hear glutamic acid and monosodium, you might instantly think, scientific jargon. But let's clarify. Monosodium glutamate, MSG, that's a key form of glutamic acid, and these compounds are basically flavor powerhouses. They're critical to how food tastes, how it's produced efficiently, and they influence consumption across, well, virtually every culture. From the savory depths in packaged snacks to the umami punch in restaurant dishes, these ingredients are really everywhere.
So we're going on a bit of a journey today, dissecting the global figures, then zooming into various regions, various countries, to pinpoint exactly where this market is seeing its most dynamic growth.
It's truly fascinating, isn't it? I mean, these compounds are far more integral to our daily diets and, frankly, the efficiency of the food industry than most people probably realize. Understanding their market isn't just about chemistry. It's a powerful lens, a lens through which to view global economics, shifting demographics, evolving cultural tastes. A market report like this offers us this panoramic view, consumption patterns, economic development, even the strategic positioning of food manufacturers worldwide. It really helps us understand what factors are influencing the very flavors we crave and the foods that, well, populate our shelves.
Absolutely. So let's get things off with the big picture, a global snapshot of this market's trajectory. In 2021, the overall market for glutamic acid and its monosodium derivatives, primarily MSG, just to be clear for you listening, generated a substantial $8,400.77 million USD in revenue. And this isn't just a static market, it's expanding, and quite rapidly. Projections show it climbing to nearly $10 billion by 2025, specifically $9,927.5 million, and then making a truly significant leap to an estimated $13,863.8 million by 2033. This consistent widespread demand translates to a compound annual growth rate, or CGR, of 4.263%. That's robust, sustained growth. It speaks volumes about its global importance over the next decade.
Precisely. And a global CAGR of over 4% for such a fundamental ingredient isn't just a number. No, it's an indicator of deep sort of structural shifts. It suggests a confluence of factors, right? Including steady global population growth, certainly, but also increasing urbanization. As more people move to cities, there's a natural shift towards more processed and convenience foods, which, of course, heavily utilize flavor enhancers. And furthermore, we're seeing evolving food habits where consumers are increasingly receptive to broader flavor profiles. They expect consistency. All this makes these ingredients even more indispensable to global food production. It signals this isn't a fad, it's foundational.
That's a perfect way to put it, foundational. Now let's move back closer to home for many of you listening, starting with North America. This region, while mature, still shows pretty respectable growth. It's moving from just under $2.43 billion in 2021 to a projected $3.79 billion by 2033. That demonstrates a solid CAGR of 3.665%. Within this, the United States, as you might expect, remains the dominant force. It contributes the largest volume. Its market is set to grow from nearly $1.95 billion to over $3 billion by 2033, with a 3.446% key AGR. But if we dig a little deeper, we see some interesting nuances. Canada, for example, is actually projected for slightly higher growth within the region. Its market is forecast to jump from $298.62 million in 2021 to over $503 million by 2033. That boasts a CGR of 4.75%. And Mexico also shows a stronger pace than the U.S. Its market growing from $174.8 zillion to nearly $292 million over the same period, achieving a 4.165% CGR.
Yeah, and what's particularly insightful here is observing those distinct dynamics within what we generally consider a mature market. While the sheer scale of the U.S. market is, undeniable, the slightly stronger growth rates in Canada and Mexico point to interesting national specificities. It could suggest a more rapidly expanding food processing sector in those countries, perhaps responding to shifts in local dietary preferences, or maybe a growing demand for convenience foods that rely on these enhancers. It highlights that even within a common economic bloc, individual national markets are telling their own stories. It's not monolithic.
Right. Okay, moving our focus across the Atlantic, Europe presents a really interesting and frankly diverse picture of growth, a real tapestry. The regional market as a whole is growing steadily, from $1.58 billion in 2021
to over $2.5 billion by 2033. That's with a KRR of nearly 3.8%. But the individual country narratives within that are quite varied. On the one hand, you have countries like France and Italy leading the pack, showing stronger growth. France, for instance, is projected to see its market expand at a healthy 4.557% CAGR, while Italy follows pretty closely at 4.182%. Now, this could suggest specific culinary traditions embracing these ingredients, or perhaps more vibrant processed food innovation seen in those countries. Then we see more moderate growth in major economies like Germany and the UK, hovering around 3.2% and 2.98% respectively. And at the lower end, countries like Spain, Sweden, Denmark, Switzerland, Luxembourg, they're experiencing slower increases, some even below 2.5%. It really paints a picture of a multi-speed Europe.
It truly does. And this disparity immediately raises an important question, doesn't it? What factors could be driving such a wide range of growth rates across a relatively integrated market like Europe? For countries like France and Italy with higher rates, it might be tied to specific segments of their food industries, perhaps an expansion in savory snack production or processed meat alternatives, maybe. Conversely, the slower growth in other nations might indicate more saturated markets, or perhaps a greater prevalence of clean label consumer preferences, where manufacturers might be, exploring alternative flavor strategies.
That makes a lot of sense. But here's where it truly gets compelling in Europe. The rest of Europe category. This segment, which aggregates many smaller countries, is actually surging. It has the fastest pace among all European subregions, showing an impressive 5.38% CAGR. It's projected to grow from $333.27 million in 2021 to over $604 million by 2033. That's not just growth, it's an acceleration.
That's a truly striking observation. And the robust growth in the rest of Europe isn't just a statistical anomaly, I don't think. It strongly suggests rapid economic development and industrialization in these often overlooked economies. Think about countries in, say, the Baltics, the Balkans, or parts of Eastern Europe. They're quickly catching up to Western European standards in terms of food production infrastructure, consumer demand for convenient processed foods. This category is a powerful indicator of emerging markets within Europe that are experiencing significant shifts. Shifts in dietary habits, manufacturing capabilities. It's fostering a substantial need for ingredients like glutamic acid and MSG to enhance flavor and, efficiency.
Right, a real sign of development there. Okay, now prepare for some truly eye-watering figures because the Asia-Pacific region is not just the largest, but also one of the most dynamic markets globally for glutamic acid and monosodium. This region generated a colossal $3,360.31 million back in 2021, and is projected to soar to nearly $5.74 billion by 2033. That demonstrates a very strong 4.641% CAGR. China, of course, plays an absolutely pivotal role here. It's the key leader, projected to reach over $1.64 billion by 2033 with a solid 4.207% CAGR. Japan also holds a significant and mature market share, expected to exceed $1.1 billion by 2033. But the real standout performer in this powerhouse region is India, moving from $468.76 million in 2021 to an estimated $856.88 million by 2033. India boasts the highest regional CAGR at an astounding 5.419%. Other notable growth hotbeds include Singapore with 5.987% CAGR, and Southeast Asia as a whole, showing strong collective growth at 4.987% CAGR. Australia, in contrast, shows a more modest 2.561% CAGR, reflecting perhaps a different consumer landscape down there.
The sheer scale and explosive growth rate in Asia-Pacific are truly remarkable, and they reflect some powerful macroeconomic and cultural forces. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the rapid urbanization across the continent, coupled with increasing disposable incomes, consumers are buying more processed and packaged foods. It's a simple fact. And crucially, there's that profound cultural affinity for umami flavors in this region, which MSG delivers so effectively. Think of the widespread use in instant noodles, savory snacks, ready meals across Asia. It's ubiquitous. India's particular surge is a significant economic indicator. It reflects not only its massive population, obviously, but also its rapidly modernizing food industry, embracing these ingredients to meet evolving consumer preferences, and importantly, the demand for affordable, palatable food options.
That's a great point about the cultural affinity for umami. It really brings these numbers to life, doesn't it? Okay, let's pivot south now to South America, another region showcasing strong market momentum. The overall market here generated $562.85 million in 2021, and it's set to break the billion-dollar mark, hitting $1,016.22 million by 2033. This reflects a robust KGR of 5.226%, making it one of the faster-growing regions globally. Brazil, as you might anticipate, remains the largest market within the region, projected to reach over $307 million by 2033 with a 4.862% KGR. However, the highest growth in the entire region is coming from
Argentina, a surging 5.743% EJGR. It's forecasted to nearly double its market size, moving from $77.22 million in 2021 to $145.4 million by 2033. And it's not alone. Countries like Colombia, Peru, Chile also show solid TGRs, all exceeding 4.3%.
Yeah, what's particularly captivating about South America, especially Argentina's accelerated growth, is how specific national trends can really outpace the broader regional averages. This isn't just about general economic expansion, I think. It could point to significant, targeted investments in the local food industry, perhaps a boom in domestic savory snack production, processed meats, maybe even new beverage formulations. It suggests a dynamic interplay between local consumer preferences, a growing middle class, and an increasingly sophisticated food manufacturing sector eager to deliver enhanced flavor experiences. These are fascinating sort of micro trends embedded within that broader regional expansion.
Fascinating indeed. Now let's turn our attention to the Middle East. Here we observe a more moderate but consistently steady growth trajectory. The region recorded $302.43 million in 2021 and is projected to reach $429.78 million by 2033. That's with a CAGR of 2.767%. Within this, Saudi Arabia holds the largest market share, but shows a comparatively lower CAGR of 2.462%. The UAE, however, demonstrates stronger growth at 3.902% CAGR, and Egypt is also notable with a 3.33% CAGR.
This region's pattern of steady, rather than explosive, growth is quite revealing, I think. It suggests a more established or perhaps specific application for glutamic acid and monosodium. We're likely seeing demand driven by existing, mature food processing industries and a well-developed consumer market rather than the rapid foundational shifts we're seeing in some other emerging economies. It points to a more stable foundational demand, perhaps in sectors like processed meat, soups, or seasoning blends, rather than, the rapid expansion of new consumer segments or complete new product categories.
All right, now hold on to your hats, because this is where the data truly becomes astounding, and likely quite surprising for many of you listening. Africa is demonstrating the strongest growth globally for glutamic acid and monosodium, bar none. The regional market, starting at a relatively modest $159.62 million in 2021, is projected to rise to $204.51 million by 2025, and then more than double to an incredible $377.10 million by 2033. This translates into an absolutely phenomenal CAGR of 7.949%. That's almost double the global average. Incredible. And if we drill down, the numbers get even more dramatic. Nigeria shows robust growth at a 7.6% CAGR. South Africa is right behind it at a very strong 7.579% CAGR. But the absolute highest CAGR globally comes from the rest of Africa market. The segment surges from just under $80 million in 2021 to a staggering $194.66 million by 2033. With an unparalleled 8.299% TGR. Think about that, almost tripling its market size in a little over a decade. This isn't just growth, it's an explosion.
This exceptional, truly standout growth in Africa, especially in that rest of Africa category, it's perhaps the most compelling story in this entire report. And it really begs the question, why? If we connect this to the bigger picture, it suggests a profound wave of industrialization and urbanization sweeping across the continent. We're talking about a boom in localized food processing. For instance, the rapid expansion of instant noodle makers, savory snack producers, bouillon cube manufacturers. That directly catered to a burgeoning urban population. This population is increasingly moving towards more convenient, accessible, and flavorful processed foods, fundamentally changing traditional dietary habits and creating immense demand for flavor enhancers like MSG. This isn't merely incremental, it's a powerful indicator of future economic shifts, the rise of a new middle class, and the emergence of massive-scale consumer markets and food production hubs. It's a testament to the continent's dynamic and rapidly evolving food landscape. It's really something.
You've hit the nail on the head there. It really makes you pause and think about the sheer scale of change happening. So what does this all mean for you? Whether you're in the food industry, a global investor, or simply someone who eats, which is all of us. We've journeyed across continents today, haven't we? From the mature, steady markets of North America and parts of Europe to the exploding potential of Asia-Pacific, South America, and especially the truly groundbreaking developments in Africa. We've seen a clear, compelling narrative of global expansion, with consistent growth in established economies and genuinely exceptional momentum in developing regions, particularly where industrialization and consumer wealth are rapidly increasing.
What's truly fascinating here is how these seemingly niche market numbers for glutamic acid and monosodium, how they reflect much broader macroeconomic trends and evolving consumer landscapes. The disparate growth rates we've seen across countries and regions aren't random, not at all. They tell a compelling, almost predictive story of where the world's food industries are growing, innovating, and adapting to changing demands. This includes everything from, the development of new food products and improved processing efficiencies to the very structure of global supply chains.
Indeed. It offers a glimpse into how our global palate is evolving, really. So, as you reflect on this deep dive, consider this provocative thought. How might these dramatic regional disparities in growth for foundational food ingredients like glutamic acid and monosodium, how might they not only reshape global food supply chains and international trade policies, but also profoundly influence the future of flavor innovation itself, leading to entirely new taste experiences, new consumer preferences across different parts of the world? It's a fascinating and complex thought to chew on until our next deep dive.